What's good, family? Tonight's gonna be a show, bro, because everything's already off the rails. So
Oh, I gonna be crying here. What the heck?
we're back for another episode. I don't know why that's so funny to you.
I don't know, man. I just saw it like real quick. It looked like one of those out of a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Like it was big as heck too. Like it covered your whole face. Like, I couldn't even see you, man. All I saw was you give the thumbs up in a big glass of milk. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not saying.
Oh,
Danny, I probably
listen.
wouldn't have said that, but Danny messed it up for me. All right, y'all, I'm sorry. I derailed the whole beginning.
No, man, listen, it is what it is. I'm a big proponent for milk. I have a thing. It's been there for years. Like if I have something sweet, I have to have milk with it. So
Oh,
that is an absorbently large cup
man.
to put milk in, but
You
it's
had
good.
it filled. You had it filled to the brim too.
To the brim, yeah.
At all times, bro. At all times. Because otherwise, I'm gonna have to get up and like refill it and stuff, and I'm gonna be mad about it. You know what I'm saying? That's just the right amount of
Your
milk.
cup shouldn't take up all your face, man. It was like this.
I mean, listen, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but for me, yeah, it should.
That was like a glass of. That's like something people drink beer in.
It is actually a mug to drink
All
beer.
right, I'm sorry. How y'all doing?
All right, so we're back for another episode of Top 5 Live. Episode 95, 5 away from 100. And we still got to figure out a way to like expedite things because
we ain't gonna do it, man.
I know, right? Technically, we should have had episode 100 fall on Heroes Con when Javon will actually be here, but
Actually, if we missed a couple, didn't we miss like 2 episodes, 2 or 3?
we missed one.
Couple weeks we missed. No, man, there was a couple weeks we didn't do it.
You mean like in life?
Yeah, like through the span of the show.
Oh, wait, let me y'all see we got Javon's cousin and our brother and friend to the show, Jamar Stokes, down at the bottom right. Danny J. Quick,
Co-host of the Stoke Podcast on Thursdays at 8 p.m.
Absolutely. Yeah, so this week we're doing a top 5 video game franchises. No, fighting video game franchises.
I'm about to say
Fighting video game franchises. That's an important distinction. So before we get too deep, we also are going to be talking about Across the Spider-Verse because normally we don't do spoilers. You know what I mean? Immediately, I try to give it 2 weeks, but I'm off that this week. Y'all can. I mean, if y'all ain't seen this movie,
I had a weekend, man.
This weekend, I mean, I did announce it early, like we going in. So we definitely gonna talk about it tonight, especially because Frankie, bro, we were trying to get Frankie on tonight, man. Fantastic Frankie, for those who don't know her, she has a great following on IG and TikTok. Go follow her now. Content creator, reviewer, like she's really blown up in the last 2 years. Very happy to see her successful. And she's been giving some spicy takes, bro, on the movie that I absolutely adore. And I wish to God we could have talked to her about it tonight, but hopefully sometime in the future. So we're definitely getting into Across the Spider-Verse and reviews and deeper conversations that were brought up. And we'll get into those.
Kevin said he want to be on.
Who?
Kevin Chapman.
I'm sure he does. Look, last time y'all cheated, so I'm gonna go ahead and give both of y'all a point. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and give both of y'all.
Cheat.
You know,
Don't give us a point.
I mean, it's a tie. So technically, I mean, I don't know.
We already did this before. Last time we had a tie, we both got it.
I don't get it.
Wait, who cheated? I'm confused.
Ain't nobody cheat. Morgan cheat.
If both of y'all, whatever, I'm still.
I guarantee you, like 3 of his wins, he didn't have it. He just.
Oh yeah,
he was just bored sitting there. It was like,
yeah, of course, that's like, exactly what it is. That's why I show it every week because I knew you say some dumbish like that.
All right. Kevin, what you talking about, man?
Did not. 1, 2, 3.
I have no idea what Kevin's talking about.
So,
What did he say?
But anyway, don't worry about
are
Kevin.
we going directly into the Spider-Man movie?
I think we should go in. I think we should dip right
That's
in.
probably what's going to end up being talked about the most anyway.
So, I think I got a controversial take on Spider-Man.
Ooh, I got a bunch of comments.
And I don't think, but all right. So for those of you who haven't seen Spider-Man it's Across the Spider-Verse, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
It was an amazing movie to me. To me, it's a 10 out of 10. But it's not as good as the first one. I prefer the first one over this one. To me, I'm not gonna say it's not as good because they're both 10s to me. But I prefer the first one to this one, and there are a number of reasons for that, but not reasons that make the movie bad. I think the setup took a little too long. I think really this was Gwen's, and I've only seen it once. I know people have gone and seen it twice and 3 times already, but I think this might have been more Gwen's vehicle than Miles.
I thought that way too.
And that's cool, but they still wanted, they were trying to make them share the spotlight, and I just thought that the first act took so long to get there. And then also number 3, the only person that had a real arc was Gwen. Gwen was the only one who had a resolution in her story, it seemed like to me, and not even really a resolution. Like from a writing standpoint, she realized what she did, and then she turned away from it, but she didn't resolve that. She didn't actually take the action to, besides bringing the team together, she didn't take the action to correct what she did. So
what? I didn't get that.
I'm just letting them cook.
She didn't. So she realized what she did was wrong, and she put the team together. But the team didn't go out and stop Miguel or help Miles yet. Like they didn't finish. It's not finished.
But that's not that wasn't her arc though.
But it's 2 movies.
Her arc.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not finished. So that's what I'm saying. It's not that it's bad. It's not a bad thing because they set it up wonderfully, but it's not done yet. So,
but the arc for her was her and her dad, though, wasn't it? Wasn't it that
Yeah, it's her ultimately. It's her story is her resolving the issues with her own home, her father, the issue of identity. That's her version of identity that Miles had to deal with in the first movie. So
I felt like it was more of her making her own team. Like it started with her leaving her band and finding her place amongst her own team, right? So she left the band. She thought she found this team that she could rock with, and she decided, okay, now that I see the era of this team,
that's kind of her B plot. Her core theme is now you bring up a point of belonging. That's a big point, is belonging here, and that's the part where she feels like she's ostracized from her father and her own world because she's not getting that acceptance. She leaves to find that acceptance with the other spiders, and then realizes she had it with Miles, and ultimately comes and brings everyone together in the way that her and Miles find the best way possible.
Yeah, that's why I said like she's the only one close to had an arc. I didn't feel like it was totally resolved because they didn't take that action. But
yeah, that's gonna happen in the next movie, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna happen in the next movie. But I don't know. I still prefer the first one. This one, it was a little long to me. Y'all know how I am. I'm not with.
What did you go see it at nighttime?
Nah, we went early and saw it. But Tiana fell asleep during the movie. We went like early.
I worry. Listen, man. Look, man. I worry about Tiana, man. Her in the movies don't bitch. Like, she gotta watch movies at home, man. Like,
y'all old, cuz.
I'm just being real. Like, she need a pause button.
That's insane.
Nah, we be working hard, bro. It's terrible, bro. We work.
Did you just try to get an excuse to y'all?
I know he really just. That was like a low key diss right there.
Are you kidding me?
What?
We be working hard.
We do. I got a job. We both got businesses around. We got 4 kids, bro. It's a lot. It's a lot going on right now.
2 jobs. This guy. and I had my son with me, and I had to pay attention. So
I had 4 children with me, Javon.
I'm pretty sure they all watched the movie longer than y'all did.
No, I watched the whole movie. Tiana's the only one that fell asleep. We all loved. Well, the kids were angry at the ending. I guess they didn't know that it was going to be part 1, but I did. So I expected it not to, to be resolved with Miles' story to be resolved. So, but what did y'all think? What out of 10? Out of a 10, what rating did you get it? Javon, I know you said a 9.75.
I gave it a 9.75.
Yeah, me and Javon about to argue.
But I was very specific on why I said it, because my reason why I didn't get a 10 is very specific. Me and Jamari talked about it. If y'all don't know, my favorite Spider-Man is Spider-Man 2099. Like, most people don't know that. I'm telling you, that's my favorite one.
Brandon said 12 out of 10. Dang, yeah.
Let him know, Brandon. Really? Let him know, Brandon.
But I don't feel like that was an accurate representation of the character, Spider-Man 2099. It bothered me. Like, it bothered me throughout the whole movie. But I mean, what you want, dude? If Miles was like foaming at the mouth, screaming at everybody and angry, you'd be like, that ain't Miles. Like, that's how I felt. Like,
you wouldn't know if that was Miles or not. But,
what'd you say?
Morgan wouldn't. I mean,
I know Morgan. Yeah,
you're very consistent with your hate of movies because of the character.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Character.
Don't do that.
The same
I never said I hate.
Panther.
How am I hating a movie if I give it a 9.7?
I mean, with that being your gripe is that it's not like the comic books.
It's a minor gripe, but that's the character. If the character of Peter Parker isn't like the character in the books are the source material, then what are we doing? What's the point? You should make up a whole new character.
I think they got the majority of it.
I understand your character. Do you know anything about Spider-Man 2099?
Of course I do. I'm saying I think that
they didn't get the majority of it right.
To use him as a
Miguel is always humorous, dude. I can bring out my trades right now, man.
I hear.
Please do not.
The history.
Listen. I know Morgan. He gets afraid of books. Like Morgan is afraid of books.
I'm not afraid of books.
No, not the written word. No.
The character Miguel's story in the movie makes sense for him not to be humorous, though, right? The tragic backstory, the whole build of this network of spider people who are trying to stop these Nexus events, or what do they call them? These canon events.
Canon events
makes sense for him not to be funny, right?
His personality changed.
So you basically telling me they had to write him out of character to get what they wanted.
They showed why it's the same as the ending. Like, my favorite part of the movie, or darn near my favorite part, is the revealing of Prowler. And we see why that Miles is the way that he is. Like, we get it.
Got the real Miles though, so you get it to play off of.
Yeah,
we never see the real. We never see the real version of Miguel.
There's been one movie. It's a 2-parter. We don't know.
I'm just telling you what I can only rate the movie off what we saw. Like, I can't do what Danny does and talk about a movie that doesn't exist yet. Like, what do you want me to do? We talk about the movie right here.
PJ says, "What PJ? Go and bring out the trade so you can tell us."
Dude, please don't.
In the comic book, in the comics, Miguel is humorous.
PJ's asking.
He's humorous. He's humorous from Jump Street until on. So I don't know what PJ's talking about.
He's asking a question.
I'm telling him every single issue, he's humorous. He's more sarcastic and sardonic than, say, like, really jokey Peter Parker. Miguel was just like Wolverine. He was just angry all the time. Like,
I think I don't know. For me, they made it clear. I saw his person. I saw his banter, but a lot of times when we saw him, it was him dealing with Miles, so there won't gonna be no banter because this is the problem. And
I understand, guys. I understand if he's from a different dimension, and that's fine. If y'all want to say that, that's fine. But I'm speaking as a fan of the character. And if I didn't like the way the character was presented, then it's the same. It's the Black Panther conversation all over again.
We know. Please don't.
And I'm not going through it again.
Thank God.
Hold on. I reach. I mean, That's you, Jason. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean,
Look,
listen,
there are other things that I have issue with the movie too, but they're minor.
Jamari.
All right, I'll give you my other issue, and I told Jamari about this as well. The premise that Miles goes there, and basically everybody except for what two characters were like, let's go get that dude. And not you got hundreds of Peter Parkers, and not one of them is like, yeah, this is what we're doing is not right. Especially when you just had a movie in No Way Home in which Peter goes out of his way to save the lives of villains, even though they're supposed to die. It's a bit to me that no Peter Parker stood up to Miles. I don't know.
Stood up
You mean
4
Miguel?
miles or stood up?
Excuse me. Stood up 4 miles.
I hear you on that, and I agree with you on that. But at the same time, when you have a powerful figure who has literally 100 universes worth of evidence to say this is what happens to Spider-Man.
You mean like Doctor Strange?
Yeah, like Doctor Strange too,
Man,
or like
stood up to him too.
Like what you call it?
Oh, Jason, I see what you mean. My bad.
So I just think it's I think it's in the context of the movie it made sense, and that's all I asked for. This is not a story that comes directly from the comics. This story doesn't come directly from the comics. So as long as it makes sense in the context of the movie, what I was confused by was the Spot stuff, but somebody on TikTok got it for me. So
what were you confused by?
Well, at first I thought that when Spot said that he got his powers through I thought he had his powers before when he brought the spider around. I thought he was saying that he got his powers then, but obviously it was after.
Oh, after the explosion, yeah.
Jamari, what you feel on the movie, man?
So, since you guys are using a 10 out of 10 or the rating setup, I gave it very similar 9.8. I love this movie. I absolutely loved it. I was highly entertained through the whole thing. And in some ways, it does things better than the original movie.
Agreed.
I personally feel that the first movie is a 10 out of 10 because I can't really find notes on what everything the first movie does is done in such a tight package, and that's kind of the key why this one gets nicked. The little 2 points I have here: the pacing and length, and the fact that they're trying to juggle a lot of themes, ideas. That kind of took away. Like you feel them juggling in this, and when I can feel a story juggling, when I can feel the plot moving parts instead of just enjoying it, then I'm gonna nick you. The other part that got me is ultimately, and this would be if I was going to give, if that was not the problem, ultimately I'd give this a 9.9 because it is building off of what the first movie did so much that it's really hard to not judge it on the same merit. And if I feel like the first one's perfect, this one is just a teeny bit less.
I got a question before Morgan goes. Do y'all think that it was do y'all think this was a retcon? Do y'all think that the spider being meant for another Miles and from another dimension was a retcon, or do you think they originally, planned for it to be like this?
I feel like I remember the spider glitching.
No, the spider definitely glitched in the first one, but
I don't know.
I think
that's a good question. I don't know if that's one that's gonna. I don't know if that's an answerable question unless you.
Not just the spider glitching, not just the spider glitching, but Spot. The guy being hit with the bagel being Spot, and like everything, like Prowler, him becoming Prowler in the other universe. Do you think that was the intent all the way from the beginning, or do you think like because if it was a retcon, this is like the they did an amazing job connecting. Like, if they didn't intend for this to be, you know, the origins of Spot and for, you know, the alternate universes and all that stuff, it's a great retcon.
I think. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think it's ultimately Sony figuring out, hey, we can do our thing if we kind of piggyback off of a couple of other things someone else has already put out there. And the people who are working on this particular storyline, they clearly are taking care of their plot. They're definitely putting work in on making sure they're keeping continuity, because they're doing an excellent job with it. It works. Even if you don't like Miguel and like Javon doesn't like him, it still fits the story. For this version of the story, for the one that we're given right now, it fits. So it does kind of take me out of just the whole idea that one Spider-Man is this crazy, but it doesn't bother me.
And everybody else follows him blindly.
Oh no, that part is that.
When you see an abyss of black destroying liquid oozing out of a dimension anytime you don't listen, that's kind of hard to argue against, though.
Well, let me put this to you then.
I was gonna go ahead. I'll wait.
Yeah, this will be this is kind of like the big thing that immediately hit me about this, and why I think the length is so important. They essentially truncated a Netflix season and gave you the cliffhanger ending that Netflix likes to end a lot of their shows on, where you've got this, now you're anticipating the next one that comes next year. It's a little bit longer than the original movie. They've packed a lot of stuff going into this movie and giving you a lot of threads that are going to be, that they've resolved one or two, but you still got stuff that's going to clearly be in the next movie. And I felt like we've seen it with Endgame, but this movie really gave you more of that feeling of, I watched this. This easily could have been 6 episodes. Extend a few of the storylines. We could have seen more Spot. We could have had background. We could have seen a whole episode just on Miguel. We could have seen just what you were talking about, Danny. This could have been 6 episodes on Netflix in its sleep, and it probably would have even been more riveting.
Morgan,
that would have made more sense.
Morgan, you didn't give your assessment.
I mean, I was waiting on everybody to finish. For me, like I said, I gave it a 10 out of 10 while I was still in the theater, but because, and the reason I feel like I had to is because the first one was such a great movie. The Hello Danger scene is still like, I still get goosebumps every time. Every time I get goosebumps on that. And it was such a masterpiece. I also feel like this one is, I feel like this one is like where I would give slight dings like y'all did. The only thing that I could think of, period, that I would change in the movie is the opening, like where they opened it with Gwen. I don't know that they needed that. I think they could have started right with Miles and it would have been fine and just as compelling. But I think the reason they started with Gwen, I forgot this was the one of two. So I think the reason they started with Gwen is purposeful for the next film. I think that's the reason that they did that. But I will say the things that, for me, the antagonist in this one were better. The group of Spider-Man, the cast of Spider-Man that the story was revolving around, I like far more in this one as well. The story was great. The cliffhanger was amazing. I'm gonna say that one more time. The cliffhanger was amazing. Because when it ended, I was like, yo, y'all can't do this to me. Because I legit forgot that it was the first of two. So when it ended, I said, yo, please don't. Because I legitimately would have sat there to watch another 2.5 hours without moving. Legit.
Me too.
I was that
Yeah.
hype. I was that hype. I was like, yo, son, oh my God. Like all the threads and things that they set up. I was hyped to see Gwen starting her own joint. You know what I mean? I will say, because I definitely want to get into some of the things that Frankie brought up too. But for me, I think this is about and the animation.
Oh no, the animation was
They,
terrible.
The animation was phenomenal.
they should be strangled for having that much talent. Do you hear me? Like they should be accosted for being that good. It is insane the level of stuff that they're putting on screen because I didn't think it could get better than the first one. And the first one's still phenomenal. I went back to watch the first one the other day just to see if I was tripping. No, the first one's still fantastic. It's still hilarious. There are really funny moments in both. Like legit, actual laugh out loud moments. The animation team needs all the awards. Like
money. Pay these people.
Pay them a lot.
Pay them.
They are worth it. Like
accolades and awards are great.
Theaters,
pay them
please.
people, man.
Go see that movie in the theater.
I think I was thinking even Little Mermaid. I know we're not talking about Little Mermaid, but like
I was
the writers
bring it up too.
I ain't seen
writers are definitely showing like, hey, pay these people.
100%.
Well, you know, the guy who wrote this, I believe, is the dude. He did both movies. So I was trying to answer Dan's question.
They added 2 more people.
Yeah, but the general guy, I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of put stuff in there, like in the first one, with the intention on coming back to it if he gets another chance. Just like they said with the glitching spider, like I can see him going, okay, I'm gonna put that in there if I get a chance to go back in it, and if it's not, then it's okay. I would say the way they had Ben Riley. By the way, shout out to Tom. Listen, rest in peace, Tom Lyle. The fact that they got Tom Lyle's art style like animated. I don't know if you guys know Scarlet Spider. When you saw the Scarlet Spider, he was animated exactly how the artist Tom Lyle.
That was hilarious and awesome to me. Like for him to be like the tortured, because he's the clone. He's a clone of
clone of Spider, right? Yeah,
and bro, it was just dope, bro. Like all of it.
There's a lot of cameos, a lot of great cameos. One really big cameo. Even if I know we spoiled it, I don't want to talk about it because I like, you know, it just on that.
No,
I'm just saying though, like
we already said we were doing spoilers, bro.
I can't spoil everything.
That's
what you mean? What's the point of doing spoilers and not doing spoilers at the same time?
If they in the chat right now, it's too late.
Yeah, bro.
All right,
out of here.
I fully agree with that.
You know, because you know I protect at all times. But I announced 2-3 days ago.
That's fine.
We going in, so.
Fine. But like I said, I know I gave my gripe, but I did enjoy the movie. As much as my son, I brought my son with me, and he was watching it. But you know, so he can only do so much. And then like I actually missed like a small part of the end because he had to go to the bathroom. He had terrible timing. But no, I mean I enjoyed it.
My son, you got to pee on yourself.
I was trying to think, what's the point of doing the movie? Yeah, all right, Jess. We heard you. I feel like I'm in the barbershop right now. Hey, welcome, Jace. Welcome. But let me ask y'all.
Appreciate you, Jason.
We could probably do this. Is this your bet? Do you think this is the best Spider-Man movie ever?
It's up there. It's up there for me. I mean, it's this. It's between these. It's between. Is for me personally. It's between this one, Into the Spider-Verse, or No Way Home. It's between them 3 easily.
Mine's still Spider-Verse.
I'm trying to think. Like, I really, really liked Homecoming. I know a lot of people, but to me, Homecoming.
I've never understood the hate for Homecoming.
Homecoming felt like a Spider-Man.
Homecoming is Mysterio, right?
No, that's the Vulture. It had a great twist.
I like
a great villain. Strong villain. Strong love interest. Going there, even more so than MJ. I felt like MJ kind of came out of nowhere. But you could tell he really liked her. I really like Homecoming. I don't know if it's my number one. Spider-Man 2 was
I feel
still
like
a
all
great
of them-
one.
There's only one bad Spider-Man movie to me, and all
Come
of
again?
them. I think to me, there's only one bad Spider-Man movie.
Which one?
3.
3. I knew he was going to say
You
3.
you thought Amazing Spider-Man 2 was good?
Yes, I did. I definitely wanted. I like the twist. This Amazing Spider-Man 2. I wanted them to continue with the Peter's mother and father angle and go into the Sinister Six and all that stuff. I like those two movies a lot. I wish
I
we
like
could have got
elements
that.
of those movies. I think there's a lot of good in those movies. I think they are much better than most people.
He said we don't talk about Spider-Man.
I think
Yes, it is. That's the one.
I think for sure that for me across it's between those three. But if I was thinking right now, I want to go back to watch Across the Spider-Verse again. Again, Across the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse does some things. So, like I said, the Spider-Man cast that was on screen for the majority of this film, I don't know how you top that. Everybody loves Hobie, bro. Like everybody loves Hobie.
Only issue I had is that he bounced for like a huge portion of the movie. That was the only issue I had.
Well, one thing is we know.
But I get story-wise, I understand why. Like, but I mean, I like the character. So
everybody loves Hobie. I love Issa's. Man, I was concerned when she was pregnant. I didn't really know what to do with that, but
I didn't get that. I didn't get that. I didn't get the point of that.
I assume they're doing something with that because Peter's got his baby too. So I was like, I don't know where y'all going with this.
That was definitely an animation thing because, like, in my mind, while I'm watching it, I'm like, if they did this in live action, folks would be
I don't know how I feel about that yet, honestly, but I'm hoping it's because they're setting something up.
Let me throw something out at you, guys. Then, since Javon has his issues with Miguel,
okay, Jess. Okay,
no, that's a different Spider-Woman. That's whatever. She wasn't fighting dudes like that. Go ahead, Jamal.
Yeah, she was on. She was on a
what
whole
if
bike.
What if instead of being Miguel, what if it had been Ben Reilly?
Well, I told you what I thought that they should have done. It would have made more sense to me if they had used like a Peter Parker that had like given into the symbiote. It's
that
right
also
there.
would have been a good idea.
Then it would have made sense for him to be like snarling. Like that dude was literally like foaming at the mouth.
It would have given real
okay.
reason.
Like I said, for me personally, the reason that Miguel was wrong, he was a strong antagonist to me because I can understand why he's doing it. I just don't think he has the right to do it. It's very similar to the Thanos argument. There's a lot of people out here that I still talk to this day that feel like Thanos is right. The problem is Thanos is not putting himself in the middle of those consequences of setting things right. Like, who told you get to be the person to press the button? If you're not putting yourself at risk, then it's not fair already. You know what I'm saying?
Give you something even better.
And they got people hating Spider-Man 2099. That's the other thing that pisses me off. Now everybody on Twitter talking about F that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's one of my favorite characters. It'd be like if they did that to Black Panther, and now everybody's like F Black Panther.
Sensitive, bro. Stop being so sensitive. Stop.
I'm being sensitive.
I got a question.
Yes.
You're the Miguel O'Hara. You're the Spider-Man 2099 fan. Somebody said that he had the fangs in the comics. I don't remember.
No, he had the fangs in the comics.
So what was that? What was that? I mean, I understand he got the powers from, because spiders have fangs, of course. But
he has venom in the fangs.
Oh, so he never used that in the comics?
No, he used it in the comics. No, he used it in the comics. I mean, they got like his power, except for like the weird red spider web. I didn't get that, but like, But again, I told y'all that's my nitpick. I said it when I posted it that it was my nerdy nitpick. I'm okay with that. Otherwise, I enjoyed the movie, except for the fact that no Peter Parker was standing up to Miguel. Like that was Peter Parker allowing people to die. Allowing people to die.
I get I get that. I just think in the context of what they explained as those canon events, I get how it makes sense.
No, I get the logic of the canon events. I'm just saying, like, it's a stark contrast when you watch like No Way Out and you see Peter like going out his way to save villains, and then you watch this movie where they're just like, people got to die.
Yeah, but you would also wonder though if because that is one of my favorite parts of No Way Home. Is I think my favorite scene in that entire movie is when Andrew Garfield saves MJ. Like that crap was perfectly done, perfect. But I think again because of I don't think Miguel would have been able to convince everybody if there wasn't palpable proof of, hey yo, this happened to me in my universe. I'm sure there are some other Peter Parkers that have had that happen in their universe too. So
the one with the baby was there though. Yeah. They did make a point of saying that, which I give them credit for. The one with the baby, the Peter Parker with the baby, he was at the first one. Because remember, Miguel goes, remember Peter? Yeah. He's like, remember Peter? So I can understand how that Peter Parker might be okay with it. But even Peter Parker, again,
he didn't. Peter Parker was trying to stop Miles from doing it. So my point is,
right.
My point is, if Miguel comes and says, I think I have a way around this, right? He's in the future. I think I have a way around this. He finds a way to go across the multiverse to see other Peter Parkers that more than likely have been through something similar, right? You don't need, if you got 100% of something, you don't need all 100% to believe. If enough of us have experienced the same thing, once that group bands together and there's enough proof, we see this all the time right now in real life. Like, if there's enough proof, people will believe it and they'll go with it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not saying. No. What I'm saying is, I don't have a problem when the fact that there's like hundreds of them like that believe. It's just like, really, Miles is the only dude that was willing to fight back. And like I get for the purposes of the movie.
No, I think from what I got from it was that Miguel was picking. He was picking a spider that would go with what he was saying.
I agree,
because there was a reason that he didn't pick Miguel.
No,
I mean there was a reason. No, he didn't pick Miles.
Miles is because he was the anomaly.
But I also have a feeling he wouldn't, because he initially didn't want Gwen. Didn't want Gwen, so he's being picky about this too.
I think he was,
which means that there's other Peter Parkers out there that would have fought back that are not with him.
Okay, that's fine. Facility. That's fine. I'm just saying, like, it was a stark contrast. I'm not saying that it didn't make sense. I'm not saying it didn't make sense. I'm just saying it's kind of a.
I really wish Frankie could have come on to get into that spicy stuff, bro, because she was
on one. Man.
I don't even want to try to relay what she said. I might pull it up on IG and let her and play it.
I will say this though. I don't agree with the take about Miguel about their beat. Like, to me, I didn't feel like the racist overtone or undertone regarding, you know, how they were dealing with Miles. Like,
I think Miguel was twisted.
Well, I think she made a good point. That's a cultural point that I can't speak on. But when she said that Miguel would not respond to him in Spanish, she said that that's something that lighter skinned or that some Afro Latinos do in their culture. I think that was. Like, that's evidence enough to me. Like, I know there's things like that will offend us in our culture. Like, you see another black person, you give them the head nod and they don't give it back to you. You're like, yo, what's up with that? Like,
I said, I know you think
like there's certain stuff that's culturally relevant that she would be able to speak to.
That's fair, but I just don't think. What the hell? Sorry. I don't know. Like, it didn't feel like what Miguel was doing was racist. It felt like, dude, I told y'all not to bring this dude here because he's an anomaly. Like, and y'all still brought him here. And now I got to tell him this and I know he gonna freak out.
Yeah, I think the ultimate thing is he's not like Daryl is saying. He wasn't supposed to be a Spider-Man.
Right.
So
I think let me. I'm gonna play the one. I'm gonna play the one from her. She's done like 4 or 5 takes that were all spicy. I'm gonna play the one from her that I agree with 100%, and then we can get into that a little bit if y'all want to.
No,
I do want to say before we get into it, a Little Mermaid not shocked me. I didn't think that it was going to be trash, but it was way better than what I thought it was going to be. It is literally the best live action. The only live action I put up to it is Aladdin. Aladdin is probably my favorite live action, and then Little Mermaid.
It ain't another one close to me. It's in a different league.
They killed a Little Mermaid. So shout out to Halle Bailey. Destroyed that role, like destroyed. She did amazing. I knew she could act, but she killed that. Like she killed in every aspect. Besides,
I agree with Just. He just didn't like him. Like he didn't want him there. He didn't want him to be Spider-Man. He thought he knew he was an anomaly.
And he just basically blamed him for everything.
Right.
Yeah, he's a jerk now.
I mean, obviously he was a jerk.
Oh wow!
He's not necessarily wrong either.
But he wasn't wrong though. That's the thing. Like Miguel wasn't wrong.
It's how you go about being. You can be right and still go about your right.
What you mean he wasn't wrong?
He was definitely wrong.
No, wrong.
His reasoning is correct. His actions towards that reasoning is wrong.
What was he wrong about?
To me, that's another thing I partially agree with Frankie on. Look, okay, so Gwen could be seen as an anomaly too. You didn't want her, but then you accepted her.
But there was nothing she did that directly drove what happened in the Spider-Verse. Miles' very existence is an anomaly. Him being Spider-Man makes him.
These canon events that they're talking about, we don't know all the. I can't wait for the second movie. I'm hoping that some of that stuff gets tied up because I feel like
there's going to be a way, which I also think my prediction is that Miguel is going to go one of two ways. He's either going to have a redemption arc, which is why it'll be another full movie, or he does go and fall, and I even think he might get the Spot powers, but before it's all said and done.
All I know is Spot is about to be trouble.
I like that, PJ. Oh, I did want to say something about Spot before I play the video. I love Spot. I love his reasoning. I love.
That's true. He probably is the one thing that could interfere properly.
Which is another reason why that's why I'm saying I understand where Miguel's coming from, but I don't think he's right. But let me play what Frankie said real quick because I definitely want to.
Miles was supposed to be Spot.
Why you don't like Spot?
That's a typo. I can see the typo. Go ahead.
Why you don't like Spot, bro? Why you don't like Spot, Jess? I don't like that.
I actually like Spot a lot in this movie.
I love Spot. I thought it was dope.
Go ahead,
I get exactly where he's coming from because he like, oh, word, bro. I wasn't even supposed to be in this, and now you done made me, and then you gonna disrespect me. You ain't gonna pay me no attention. Oh, I got you, bro.
Morgan empathizes with Spot. Morgan empathizes with Spot. That's
the creation of Spot is low-key genius, and I'll tell you why after he plays the video.
All right, hold on. Let me well, you might want to go now because I'm pretty sure once I play this video, it's not.
No, go ahead, man. No, go ahead.
From a writing standpoint, you show the character development of him starting off being a 2-bit thug character at this point that we see him. He's trying to rob a friggin' ATM. As the time goes on, he gets more powerful, he gets more diabolical, and gets more evil and vindictive. So he graduates from low-level punk to this, and his storyline develops throughout the movie.
I don't know if I would have called him a thug or a punk. Dude was a scientist.
You know what I mean by saying.
I was about to say he was. My guy was a scientist minding his business, and then you hit this dude with a bagel. You know what I'm saying? You hit me with a bagel, bro. And then and then I get knocked into the collider, and then you help make me. I'm only here because of you, and then you don't want to pay me no motherfucking attention. Oh, you gonna pay me attention, my nigga? Oh, you not? Well, I'm gonna steal this money. Oh, I did that wrong. My bad.
So basically, we saw Morgan as a supervillain. I just want y'all to understand that when you saw Across the Spider-Verse, you just saw
no bagel.
You just saw Morgan as a supervillain. That's what you saw. The whole mentality. Really? That whole mentality.
I'll take being a genius. Hold on. Let me play this video. Hold on.
Can't hit.
It's just words. Spoilers if you haven't seen the heat that is across
to it and then go back. Hold on.
Right, let's talk about white allyship and how in most it's just words. Spoilers if you haven't seen the heat that is across the Spider-Verse. Both Peter and Gwen were textbook white allies in that they said things and, talked like they were supporting Miles, but actually did absolutely nothing to help him and his cause. They actually was blindly following a man who was pursuing the destruction of their friend Miles with no real proof. When her mentions that in every other universe she is dead, doesn't that make her a canon event? Her death a canon event? She support this man Miguel over a man that she has worked through, has worked with, and knows nothing Miles, the entire movie, and then had the nerve to be part of the pursuit and tell him to just give up in the climax. Only true allies that Miles has were the black people. Gwen did not look for a way to get back to Miles until she realized there was a loophole there to alleviate her white guilt. And the worst part is they tried to make it seem like their actions were totally was not mind controlling them, nothing of that matter. And in fact, the minute that they realized they didn't feel like doing it, they stopped. Most well-meaning people, they did it out. All right, let's talk about what.
All right, so Frankie opened that's just one hill of beans that she opened. I agree with some of it. I agree completely with I got your Earthlink, bro. That I don't know why that's the thing, bro. Like everybody's acting like they be having their joint streaming at like 1080p with like megapixels and stuff. Like anyway, I agree. One of the parts that bothered me most about the movie was when Peter said that he knew and didn't say anything. I was like, yo, son, like, because we knew Gwen knew. We knew Gwen knew, right? But Peter was going along with it and acting like he legit was like, here, hold the baby. Like he did everything he could to stop this dude from going to get his dad. When you were supposed, like, that's supposed to be your man's that you put on, that you trained and all this type of stuff, and you set him up this entire time like that, like with no remorse whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? You were just out there doing what you want to do. Gwen was wilding from the gate. When she first came in his room and opened the freaking collectible, just popped it out while he's actively saying, hey, okay. You know what I'm saying? He can't say nothing now because he's trying to get buns. But you understand what I'm saying. My point is, I would not say it's white allyship, because we would say allies are people that are actually that's dicey. You know what I'm saying? Like that's dicey to me. But I understand what she means. Like it's cool as long as it's serving my purpose too. And Gwen and Peter definitely were on that tip in that respect. So I'll let y'all go too.
I got one thing. I agree with it in theory, and then here's the one hole I see though. Peter did have actual evidence. He saw. We know that he at least saw a collapsing universe, and he has seen what happens in this situation. Now, he could. I still believe that ultimately he could have thought of another way. He could have done that. That part I agree with. He should have been the Peter Parker that was fighting against this.
Mm-hmm. Agree,
That part.
100. Yeah,
or at
I agree
least,
with that
or at
100.
least, it feels like he should have been the one that's like, there's got to be another way. I'm not gonna just give up. There has to be some loophole within this. He should have been the one to do that.
That's another reason that it pissed me off for him and Gwen to be the ones, because y'all just watch Miles save.
Yeah.
Y'all just watch Miles save the multiverse, which he said in the film. Like, y'all, we just did this. Y'all were with me when we did this. Like, how? What is this right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, Gwen and Peter were like super. Like, I get it, right? I get it, but not really at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's a setup. But go ahead, Jamal.
Oh, I wish she was here on it, because anyway.
We do both.
So I kind of get what she's saying, but I don't kind of look at it like it being a white ally thing. It only looks like a white ally thing because you had the two black characters help him, but we're not gonna act like Issa Rae wasn't out there chasing him down on her motorcycle bike while her baby kicking in her belly. So I'm gonna just say that. And then but I'm gonna get Frankie did point that out, but she called her Uncle Tom, and I'm like, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too here. Come on now. Like, so, but what I will say is the only person who to me was shady was Gwen.
Yes.
Gwen was shady.
Gwen is the most shady.
Peter was shady too, bro.
Now, I will give Gwen this.
Hold on. Let me finish though. Let me finish.
Okay.
Now, Gwen, I give her credit. She tried to dip out, and so that he ain't have to do. Miles was not supposed to go.
Yeah, Miles wasn't supposed to follow.
Miles was not supposed to follow.
But if he didn't follow, they would have been screwed earlier.
How?
What? Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I'm confused. How would they have been screwed early?
She needed his help. She needed his help later when they were.
No, because he saved the Indian.
He ended up messing up the thing.
Yeah. He messed it up worse. You're right.
So we don't know how that whole instance would have taken place if Miles wasn't there.
So I got a question.
So
that's what I was saying.
But that's what I'm saying. But even the Peter thing,
Brandon.
Hold on. Allyship is proper talking point is the matter. That's my point. That was my whole point. I don't feel like it was a race thing.
That's what I was saying too. Like,
to me, it was a friendship thing.
Like, that's what I was saying too. That's why I said I wouldn't say it's ally. Another reason I wouldn't say allyship is because allies are genuine. But I see where she's trying to marry it to, because it's like when Malcolm X used to talk about Democrats from the North. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything sounds good in there, and they might be well wishing, but they're actually it's still somewhat self-serving. You know what I'm saying? And she's trying to say that's what it was with Gwen and Peter, because she, in her other video, she was talking about Gwen only did it. Like, I think she just said it in this video. Gwen only did it once she saw that there was like a loophole or something like that.
But that's not really even true though.
Once it benefited her, it is true.
That's not true, because it's not like she went home by choice. They kicked her out. And the only way she was able to hold on.
Even more. That's even more.
Hold on, though. Listen, hold on.
Out. So now that she doesn't even belong to the group that she was sided with in the
right. I understand, but it's not like she could have easily been like, okay, my dad's cool, my universe is cool, I'm gonna stay here. She went after her friend. Like, I feel like we made I feel like this was made and I hate the way this is gonna sound, but I feel like this is made into a race thing when it's not a race thing. To me, this is a friendship thing. Like, this is like they were his friends. Now, his friends should have been there to talk to him and everything, but we also got to remember, and this is why I don't blame Peter B. Parker, because Peter was waiting for Miguel to tell him, but he wanted to tell him in a less aggressive way. But Miles was going to trip no matter what. Like, Miles was going to do what Miles was going to do regardless. Like, we have to acknowledge that.
I think the race thing, if I'm not mistaken, I would have to play all of the videos, but I think the race thing for Frankie comes in at, if you go back to the speech that his mom gave him before she left, before everything else happened, we all were thinking, okay, when he goes off to school, when he goes off to Princeton,
right,
that's the space that they're talking about, whatever. But we also know, as a part of the plot, she was saying that thinking about Princeton, but it applied to what was directly happening in his life right now, right? So, and then the part that only Frankie can speak to is from that community. Like Danny said earlier, I can't speak from that community. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, I'm not talking about. I'm not even touching on that point. But as a whole, I don't think it was a race thing. The only reason that I think it's conflating is because Spider-Punk and Spider-Bite helped him. Like,
Right.
I think that's
what I'm saying. I think that it's very obvious to me that the writers made those characters were the ones that helped him. I don't think that was a coincidence. I think if you
no,
only
that's
if you
not
only
a
got
coincidence.
4 black characters and 3 of them are the ones that are fighting the good fight, I don't think that's.
But they weren't the only minority characters in the thing, though. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm not saying they were the only minority characters, but I'm saying they were the only ones that were clearly black, though. Like,
yeah, but they weren't fighting against. Like, Spider-Bite was helping. Spider-Bite was helping. Like, let's keep it a buck. Spider-Bite was still. She didn't quit after that. Like, she was still helping. She shows up in the group at the end, but she was helping that whole time.
Right.
This was helping the whole time. Like, let's keep it a buck. Like, Spider-Punk was there helping, doing everything, following Miguel too. Like,
right. But once they saw that
Spider-Punk clearly was disillusioned with Miguel.
Right, Spider-Punk was just doing whatever the heck he wanted to do. Like, he was just like,
he was clearly disillusioned with all of this.
That's why he quit.
What Miles was going, he saw he knew what was going to happen with Miles, and and so he anticipated it the way that he did.
Yep.
And yes, great, works out. I kind of look at it more as is this more of a racially motivated thing, or is Gwen just a shitty friend, or which teenager? So
well, it's not. They don't even. I think, and we're talking about race, but it's a parallel. It's not that okay in the movie he's black, so and she's white, so it's not a racial thing in the movie. I think Frankie was saying that parallels what we see in real life.
No,
but that's where I said the line.
I got that.
That's why I said the line.
I do think that's a bit of. I still think it's a bit of projection. I don't know.
So Gwen, as part of the group, is seeing herself as part of this group. Now she's saying that this boy that she met, Miles Morales, who she said, "Hey, you want to be Spider-Man? We're going to teach you how to be Spider-Man." She's an ally to him getting to his cause until it goes against the group. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a parallel.
No. Dude, they weren't stopping him from being Spider-Man. They weren't stopping him. They weren't like, we're going to take his powers away.
Yeah.
But again, they're going off. Hold on. They're going off the information provided in front of them. That's the thing. They're going off the information they saw. They clearly showed the universe get wiped out. You saw what was happening with the Indian Spider-Man.
Y'all find out my dad. Let me know.
I'll let you know.
They told him. Time out. They told him though.
Yeah, they thought that makes him more Spider-Man.
That's why I said Gwen is the
which
trash
is
one.
Kind of fucked up when you think about. We just told you what's going to make you more Spider-Man, and it means more trauma. And that's really a fucked up way to look at that situation.
You just hit it on the head, Jamari.
That's another thing in the black community, though. Like they think
you have to accept this trauma.
Yeah, you got to accept the trauma that we had in the past generations. You got to go through this, or you ain't black enough. Or what? I mean, I ain't going.
Right? They tried to block him from the society because he's an anomaly. Like he wasn't supposed to be there. But apparently they blocked a lot of people from the society because somebody made the point that they didn't bring in Tom Holland. They didn't bring it. You ain't see Tobey Maguire there. Like, so they're blocking other people. So that's why I don't look at it as, you can look at it as a metaphor. That's fine. Like if you want to use it as a metaphor,
they didn't want to pay Disney.
Yeah, that too. But if you want to look at it as a metaphor for white allyship, fine, bet. But like from a literal point of view, I just think it was bad friends.
Well, I think
that's the intention. That was
exactly. I don't think because when she first gave her,
she does another video calling her the real villain.
But the first review that she did, she does hers 5 out of 5. She gave it 5 out of 5, but she said they were dealing with some racial components that she wishes they had just said with their chest. You know what I'm saying? And I can agree. Again, as somebody that's not Afro Latino, I cannot speak to it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I really wish she had been able to come on the show to speak for that demographic of people, because we've seen it before when Into the Heights came out. There was a lot of hullabaloo about that. You know what I'm saying? And in this film, I get the angle that she's talking about. I just can't speak to it. You know what I'm saying?
I understand the metaphor that she's playing with.
I don't think when she made the allyship video, she was talking about saying they were being racist in this film. I think what she was saying is this is what allyship looks like in the real world. I think that's what I think it's pretty clear that's what she was saying.
I have no problem with her criticizing the movie through that lens, because you can find interpretation is fine.
Yeah,
I have no problems with it. I am just saying I don't believe that was the intention of the creators of this story. I don't think that was the chief intent. I think this is something that came out of it because you can clearly see those parallels, as Danny pointed out earlier. The parallels can be seen. That's fine. That's interpretation, and that's legitimate criticism. I think where you get in trouble is where you condemn. Like, I don't think she's condemning the movie.
No, we all know she loved it. We all know she loved it.
So, but I do think it's an interesting lens to look at, and I think that's legitimate. So that's fine. I just don't think that's the intention, and I don't think that So I guess I see it from. I guess I'm looking at it purely from a critical standpoint in that regard.
Yes, that's where we disagree. I do think it was intent. I think that they put those things in there intentionally as a storytelling device. As just like in Black Panther, there were cultural things in that movie that were
but those are
literal.
We know they were
100%.
That was 100%.
But people in other communities
those aren't metaphorical though.
Yes, but the people in other communities didn't get those things, right? And there was a long dialogue.
But they were literal though. There's a difference between like you doing something literal, like and literally displaying something that's a cultural thing,
right?
And metaphorically speaking, where you can take something from this, and then I can take something like it's just it's a Rorschach painting. You saw what you saw. You saw what you wanted to see.
Not responding to him in Spanish is a cultural thing. That's a literal thing.
No, I didn't disagree on that though.
Yeah.
No, I didn't disagree on that one. Like I was like, I can't speak to that one. I'm talking about I'm still on the white ally thing.
I think Morgan does. He had the a good take in this fact that when it comes to the Afro-Latino angle of that, that's something that we're not equipped to comment on itself.
Yeah, we could
the cultural stuff, just like if if certain people wanted to comment on the cultural elements in Black Panther that were definitely put there, they're probably not equipped to do so.
Yeah, I wouldn't try. I could speak to what someone else from that community has given their experience on, but I can't speak to it myself as an Afro Latino man. Look, just the same as like if I'm talking about something I see that's effed up happen to the LGBTQ community, I can't speak to it from my own experience, but I could say that's effed up. You know what I'm saying? I could say that's effed up, or I could see where they're coming from as to why that's effed up, but I can't speak for them saying blah, 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 blah. I can't, you know what I'm saying? So
I'd be really interested if that was like purposely done for that, or because somebody in the comment section said that he didn't respond to him because he just didn't like him. He didn't want him to be there. And like, I'm interested if the person who was writing it intended it for the way like Danny's talking about, or for that way. That's what I'm asking.
That is actually a question I would love for them to answer.
Yeah, like
I would love
the creators and writers did that I would like to know if that was.
I mean, that'd be cool. Because what's the thing? Well, we can't speak on it because we ain't Puerto Rican, man. But the cultural divide. She was talking about the cultural divide between light-skinned Latinos and dark-skinned Latinos. Yeah, both can be true. Yeah,
I agree with you. Both
I'm not dismissing it at all. I'm not going to dismiss it because that could be a thing, and if it is, I'd like I know it's a thing. You know,
And,
what
and the,
you know
the
what I
allyship again. I don't know. I don't know. I really wish she was on to say that, but I don't think that she's saying that Gwen and I think she's saying the parallels are just very good because I don't know that she's saying Gwen came in there.
But
you could easily make the point though, because I don't know that she's saying Gwen came in there and opened his collectible because she's white and feels like she could just do what she wants, right?
hold on, though. You kind of can, because there was the whole part in the movie where like she was talking to his parents and she was calling them by their first name, and it was like, now that was cultural. That was
Exactly.
cultural.
But that's another one of the reasons why I said I don't know that she's saying that they specifically wrote it to be like that, but you could easily make the argument when you put that part with it, because both of them acknowledge it. Because
didn't she have his sneakers on his bed too?
His mom acknowledged it and his dad acknowledged it, and he was like, "Oh, so you just gonna stay there, huh? Okay."
and he didn't have a problem with it. The mother did.
No, both of them had a problem.
No, both of them said something.
I thought the
Both
father
of them had
said
a
he was
problem.
kind of, so I thought he.
Nah, because mom's pointed it out, and dad
But
was
she
like,
definitely
"Oh, so
pointed
that's
it
what
out.
we doing." Oh, okay. Yeah, Jessica Drew, she treated him just like that too. She was like, "I don't want to talk to you either."
I
He really was. I know who you are. She really was dismissive as hell.
Jessica Drew was institutionalized. She was
Jessica Drew was wilding. But like I said, I do think I really wish she could have come on, bro, because that there's a great conversation to be had there. And I could honestly see Danny's point of view here too, though, because if you put that much coincidence in something, I say this for me, and I say this for me.
Yeah, it was donkey. You're right.
If you are
no, but then the dad was like, "Oh, so you gonna do it too?" Remember when he came up when they were talking? Where were they? Gosh, can't remember. But she called him by his name too, and he was like, "Oh, so you're just gonna do it too?" Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah,
it was a hilarious.
That was definitely cultural though,
and it's
like, that was a smack in the face. Right?
It's a
When we
complete
actually talk
difference.
about that moment, the moment on the rooftop with the parents, because
I love that moment.
That was so wholesome and real.
It was big.
That was a big deal, because not only do we see, because we're used to seeing the girl with the overprotective, overbearing father. We don't usually get the mother who, she's eyeing the girl the same, in a similar fashion, and and we don't see that. He was a little more he kind of liked Gwen, the father did, but the mother was narrowing her eyes at him. I thought all of that. And then the talk after, which I thought was really good.
The talk after was good, but another part that I loved about that again could speak to the fact that they could have been actually driving at that. When she first introduced herself as Gwen, the mom was like, "Don't take him from me." that was like the first thing she said.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, bro.
Wait,
know what I'm saying?
Can I ask a question? How old is Gwen supposed to be?
She's a teenager too, so I don't know.
She did say she looks old enough to drink or something like that, or is it?
I think she's supposed to be almost like 18.
She looked like she's probably. I think she's supposed to be at least 17. But
she's probably a year older than him at least.
Danny doing business, y'all. We might have to get to our top 5. Danny doing business.
We can. I just think.
Gwanda.
Yes,
I'm just saying. I think. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know that Frankie was saying that it was directly because of that reason in the movie, but I am saying you.
Gwen was shady though. I agree with her about Gwen.
You could make the argument that it is. You definitely can. There's enough pieces in there that you could seriously make the argument that it's because you don't really belong. Nigga. Like you see all these Peter Parkers running around here. Jessica, like we rock with her. But you, but you
can't even say that though, because Spider-Punk is there, Bite is there. That to me is why like the racial component doesn't quite work. But
you don't think Clarence Thomas is a
So we calling Spider-Punk Clarence Thomas now?
No,
saying,
hold
like,
on.
Whoa!
Just say it though.
Bro, what?
Why we bringing up Clarence Thomas?
Spider-Punk
Then?
is
There are
Obama
people-
or something, bro. Don't do that.
Okay then. Then what we
Yeah, there
doing?
doesn't mean that-
So exactly. So when Peter rolled in, it ain't had nothing to do with his race. They were very clear and explicit on what the issue was for him.
Javon is a
Now you can use it as a metaphor, sure, but if we're talking literally, then no.
We're not talking literally though.
So-
We never were.
Probably.
No,
Yes, we were. What are you?
Yeah, no.
Danny,
What I was
We
saying,
damn
is
sure
that
we're
you
talking
could make
literally.
the
I
case.
wasn't
I
talking literally.
don't think you could make the case for it, but I don't think Frankie meant that it was literally in this
No.
movie people being racist.
I'm not saying that. I'm
No, I'm talking to
just
Danny.
said Danny just said that we weren't talking literally.
No,
Come
I
on,
was
son.
I was talking to Danny.
Everybody here talking literally.
I will say before we get into the list, I do want to say if you have not seen Little Mermaid, do not sleep on Little Mermaid. That mess was really, really, really good. I legit, it's between that and Aladdin for the best live action to me, and it's not close for anything else after that. Them joints are fantastic, and it was better for me because I did not go back to watch the original one before I went to watch this one. So it's been so long since I saw the first one
The
that
soundtrack.
like, I had forgotten the inner workings of the story. I had forgotten altogether. So like as far as like what was driving the story, and I remembered Ursula taking her voice, but I didn't remember the significance of it and stuff like that. I forgot that Ariel didn't have a voice, and that's why they had to
I was
follow
gonna say for people who saw Little Mermaid, they added a little extra in there for Ursula because everything that she said up until the point where she was like, "I'm gonna make her forget." So that she doesn't go get this kiss. I'm gonna make her forget that she's supposed to. Everything that she said up to that point, I was like, yo, if she signs the contract, then it's on her. Like, it's on her. If she says, listen, you got 3 days, you got to kiss this boy, or I'm getting your voice forever, and you're going to be a mermaid. Okay, now sign on the dotted line. Okay, she made the contract, but then she went and said, okay, I added something extra in there to make sure that she don't do it. And I was like, okay, now they snatched her back into villain status.
So I'm gonna.
It was very good. Melissa McCarthy was really good. The whole cast was good. Halle Bailey though, like she knocked it out the water for me with Ariel, bro. Like she really killed it. I don't remember if there were like moments in there where I genuinely laughed. I think there were a few. Sebastian was funny. I know people were mad that he got cast instead of an actual person from the islands.
Hollywood don't like hiring actual Jamaicans. I don't know why.
You might not be wrong.
They didn't do it in Luke Cage. They never do it. They would rather.
Hey, that dude's accent was on point though.
Hey, listen, every Jamaican I know hates that dude's accent.
Really?
I have arguments about it. I'm a 7 Adventist for y'all that don't know, and my church is mostly West Indians. And the people I talk to who watch that show, they hate that dude's. I thought he was a good job.
I thought it was shows what we know. Yeah, I got dog. Well, I guess.
Can I ask one really bad?
Yeah, go ahead.
Danny about to get off, y'all. Just let y'all know.
Let Spider-Punk hit. Is she for the streets?
You damn right.
I don't think she let him hit.
I think she did. I think she did.
I think
she wearing sweatshirts. They giving innuendos.
Like, how many sweatshirts you got out there?
Right, exactly. That dude.
I think it could imply it, but
that dude did.
Is she for the streets? I can't.
She was wearing his Chucks. Oh.
Yeah, she was wearing the sneakers. Yeah, come on now. Y'all just letting any woman wear his sneakers?
I mean, that'd be really terrible though. But she did keep defining them as friends until the conversation.
You're darn right.
But until the conversation where, and like she PJ, you stupid.
He was slanging that thing. He was slanging that thing around.
Oh man.
Y'all stupid, man. Y'all stupid.
She did keep it in the friend zone for most of the conversation.
She kept it for the entire movie.
her hand was there, and Miles tried to scoot his joint closer, and then she was like, "Yeah, it don't work out in most of the universe."
Listen, y'all, I know y'all don't want to hear it. Miles is in the friend zone, y'all. I'm sorry.
It seems like
He in the friend zone. He been in the friend zone.
Nah,
I think
I think they showed some real chemistry between them two.
Yeah.
I don't think
It works out.
You can have chemistry and be in the friend zone.
that's a fact.
Oh, yeah.
no.
Yeah.
You can absolutely have all the chemistry you want in
What?
your head. You can absolutely have all the chemistry you want in your head,
the-
but completely in the friend zone.
Nah, I don't think so.
They got a lot of chemistry. Just
Is
friendly.
Spider-Man getting that?
Then
is
we'll
Spider-
go. Well,
They like
I
them
mean, I
back.
be hitting it. Just saying.
What, Spider
If I was
Punk?
in Mouse
I
shoes,
didn't know
I'm
that.
gonna get it.
I didn't know that more.
Miles don't know how to make that move.
All right, let's get to these lists, man. Before
You're
Denny start doing this.
I'll go first. I'll go first because
He's gonna give it a shoulder touch in the third one. He's been practicing for 2 movies.
hey, all right. So I'm gonna go. I'll go first tonight because
Top 5 fighting game, video game franchise.
And I think this is like very easy. Now there might be some variations in rankings, but to me it should be the same 5. So anyway, I'll go first. So at number 5, top 5 fighting game for video game franchises. Number 5, Soul Calibur. I could have put it higher because of my love for it, and I think it has some of the best as far as like combinations in fighting and sophistication with how you can mix your moves up and stuff like that. Soul Calibur is very high up there. I love it. The character models and stuff like that. Mitsurugi's my guy. I mean, I can smash you with a lot of people, but I'm definitely smashing you with Mitsurugi if I get him. But that's number 5. Graphics, gameplay, story is all fighting game stories are pretty terrible, but Soul Calibur is okay based on that.
Soul Calibur has one of the better ones.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's my number 5. Number 4, Super Smash Bros. I don't know how I slept on that game so hard just because it was on the Wii, and I just couldn't believe that I would actually have fun with it. Even though PlayStation All Stars I thoroughly loved as well, but Super Smash Bros. Laid the groundwork for that, so I got to give love to it. So Super Smash Bros. Is number 4. Number 3, freaking Tekken. Tekken is probably my favorite fighting game. I've been in love with Forrest and Martial Law and all of them for forever. Raven in one of my favorite joints, Slim Bob. Paul is a lot of people's favorite, but I'll smash him. Tekken is one of the all-time classic fighting games. Again, I like games that have great combinations and stuff like that. I don't like the little cheesy-ish. So, but that's my number 3. Number 2, Street Fighter. I mean, it's got to be on your 5. If Street Fighter is not in your 5 list, don't ever do a list again. That would be insane and disrespectful. Ryu there's some of the best known fighting characters in fighting games of any sort at all. Ryu, Ken, Blanca, Chun-Li. I mean, those names whether you play video games or not. So Street Fighter is definitely number 2. Number 1, the fighting game that changed all fighting games, Mortal freaking Kombat.
I knew you were going to do that.
Mortal freaking Kombat, bro. It changed all fighting games. You literally had the government coming after Mortal Kombat because it changed everything. People still say toasty to this day, and you know what it means. Toasty. Yeah, everybody knows what that means, bro. It literally changed video gaming in every way. Fatalities, babalities. What are we, 11 in now? Mortal Kombat 11 was amazing. Brought back some great joints. I literally could use Jason Voorhees to kill you on screen playing this game. I was Jason Voorhees fighting Leatherface. I mean, Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's my number 1, Mortal Kombat. It changed video gaming forever. For all video gaming, but especially fighting video gaming. That's got to be number 1 for me. So that's my list. And I'll type it in now.
All right, who want to go next? I'll go then. I'll go.
Go ahead. I'm going to let y'all go. I think I want to go last.
All right. Actually, mine is almost the same as Morgan's, so I ain't gonna take up too long. Number 5, Soul Calibur. Number 4, Super Smash Brothers. I love Smash Brothers, man. I spent hours and days playing that damn game in college. Tekken. I had to put Tekken at 3 because of its importance. I got Mortal Kombat number 2. And I have Street Fighter number 1. And the reason why I have Street Fighter number 1 is I feel like it popularized it enough so that Mortal Kombat can come in and kind of
Change the
do
game.
things differently. So, like, you know what I mean? Y'all know me. Like, the originals always hold a little more weight than the people who've done who took what they did and kind of took it to another level. But Street Fighter, every one of the original ones, and especially Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, everybody knows them. You could show them like just the silhouette, and you could probably tell who Guile is, who E Honda, Hadouken. Everybody knows Hadouken, like literally, everybody knows it. And I got smoke for anybody who want to try me. I'm the man as Ryu. I'm just put that out there.
Why? I don't know why people do this every time we.
I'm just letting you know. I'm gonna be in North Carolina next week.
Every time we get on the video game subject, people got something to say.
Listen,
and
bring
I can't test your
system.
gangster, bro.
Bring your system.
I'm still trying to work out childcare. I'm gonna be there Friday for sure. I'm trying to work out Saturday. If I have time, I promise you.
Man. You got the excuses lined up.
Ain't no excuse. I'm not bringing my son. So,
but yeah, that's my 5. But I have a deeper love for Street Fighter than Mortal Kombat, even though I love Mortal Kombat.
All right,
I would say I have a deeper love for Street Fighter 2 over Mortal Kombat. As far as but Tekken is my favorite game. But I can't not acknowledge the fact that Mortal Kombat literally changed video gaming. Period. All video games, not just fighting games, all of them. So that's why I had to put it number 1.
All right, here comes the controversy.
Oh boy, Jesus.
My list is a little different. I got the same top 3 as everybody else. But number 5, I got Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
What I tell y'all? Didn't I say Dragon? I told you he was gonna have Dragon Ball or Naruto. I freaking told you.
Here's the problem with this.
No,
unless we're talking about Budokai.
Let him finish.
I'm talking about the whole Dragon Ball franchise. Budokai.
Go ahead, finish. I got to hear what the other two. The other one is
not all made by the
number
same
4. Y'all are gonna disqualify because you're not gonna say it's a fighting game, but Pokemon is a fighting game. It's a game centered around fighting pocket monsters. Number 3 is Smash Bros. Number 2 is Street Fighter, and number 1 is Mortal Kombat. There it is.
I swear.
Y'all got it. All right, Jamari, your turn.
Oh, I did cheat a little bit.
Can't stand Danny, man. God, dog, yo. Danny, every week you make me do this, dude. This gray hair right here.
I didn't think of
you. I should have went before you. Now I'm mad because they're going to listen. So I slightly cheated.
God almighty.
Because my number 5 is the Marvel versus Capcom series.
That's not cheating.
That's not cheating.
Because even it is, Capcom made it, but there are few games that
it's its own thing.
It's hard.
Yeah.
So it is definitely its own thing, and it is the premier tag style game that you can play. Super Smash Brothers is my number 4. That's not even that, like, nothing culturally. It's too important. Mortal Kombat is my number 3. And everything that Morgan said is absolutely true.
Man, Jamar, that's racist.
Fatality by itself.
Disrespect.
Everything he said about Mortal Kombat is absolutely true. But I had to put my number 2 is I don't even know what you said.
Disrespectful.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it.
I'll get you later. It's all right.
Go ahead, Jamar.
My number 2.
You got Tekken over Mortal Kombat?
Yes, absolutely. Because ultimately, Tekken is the 3D fighter. That's the premier 3D fighting game, which is why I gave it what it is. That is my favorite series. So I might be a little biased, but Mortal Kombat, again, is big. Those you can't tell me those 3 games aren't going to be on there. And my number 1 is Street Fighter, because while you're right about Mortal Kombat having its impact, we're not talking about any of these games if Street Fighter doesn't do what it does. We're not talking. Everybody knows Hadouken. Everybody knows all of the things that come out of that game. We've got those movies came before Mortal Kombat, even though Mortal Kombat has better movies.
I'm not gonna lie.
Def Jam Vendetta, definitely. Def Jam Vendetta.
Now, here's why I can't put Def Jam in there though, because then I'd have to put the THQ fighting games in. The THQ wrestling games.
I thought about that. Man. That was tough. No mercy, dude. No mercy.
Because if I put in Def Jam and Fight for New York is a masterpiece, and I hope that
Def Jam is one of the best games. Def Jam Vendetta is one of the best fighting games ever made, hands down.
Y'all didn't like the UFC games?
Absolutely. UFC 3 is one of the best.
I didn't play a lot of them.
They're
UFC
great.
3,
They're great games.
UFC 3 is my favorite.
We got Lori Foster in the building. What's up?
We got Queen Lori up in here.
Now, honestly, I could have put. Well, so that's the thing though. Like, I couldn't have put all of the wrestling games. You know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't want to get obscure on y'all.
But I love No Mercy, WWE No Mercy. That and WrestleMania. What was it? WrestleMania
2000.
2000.
And
yeah.
WCW, NWO.
Yes.
But the same company, the same company made.
Yeah.
They're the same people that made those made Def Jam and Def Jam Fight for New York. It's the same.
I love them Def Jam. Them Def Jam games, dude. Especially because their created characters was way more like real and ethnic than any other one. Like they didn't just have dudes like where you only had 2 options of the box and a bald head.
Mm-hmm.
Either bald head or cornrows or an afro. That's it.
That's right. Mike Tyson punch out.
Killer Instinct was definitely.
Killer Instinct was nice, and it had 2 good games, but you know, most everything on this that we've all got massive. Like
there's a game y'all might not remember from Dreamcast.
Mike Tyson punch out was good.
Called the
Dreamcast. What is it? Power Stone. It was alright. Power Stone was alright. It was a fun game.
You can't put it in top 5.
Nah, definitely not in the top 5.
I mean, it's not as good as Pokemon.
Nah, you didn't miss it, Lori.
If you want to get obscure fighting games, Tobal number 2.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, you don't know it, but it was one of the first 3D.
Y'all remember King of Fighters?
It actually had a really good system.
Yeah.
King of
Fighters.
Virtua Fighter has some really strong contention. Dead or Alive, I'd also would put in this mix, but
yeah.
What about X-Men: Children of the Atom? Y'all didn't like that?
I kind of put that in the verses because, like, even though I want to put Capcom SNK in here, but I kind of consider that a versus.
Hey, Fatal Fury, y'all remember that?
That comes out of King of Fighters. All of that stuff is SNK. King of Fighters.
SNK came.
King of Fighters.
What about Injustice?
I consider that a Mortal Kombat game. It's the same system.
I mean, all of them kind of like.
A lot of them are very similar.
I mean, after a while, they're all kind of derivative of the other.
Mm-hmm.
Weapon Lord.
UFC 3 was very, very good. Def Jam, if they came out with Def Jam Vendetta right now, I promise you I'd go to the store.
Fight Night Round 2.
Why? Who they gonna have in it? Bunch of dudes in skinny jeans?
Y'all remember
I don't care.
Y'all remember what was the one?
Don't make me different.
Ready to Rumble? For the
Ready to Rumble on Dreamcast.
Yeah, Ready to Rumble.
Wow, Dreamcast, dude.
Hey, you want to know a game that's not a fighting game, but it should be classified as one?
What is that?
Arch Rivals.
Okay.
Arch Rivals should be in there.
That's not.
It was a great fight.
That has surpassed the extent of my video game.
I had initially, when you started talking about doing this, I made a list of individual fighting games. Like,
yeah, we kind of.
Yeah, I had to make sure that I made it clear that we were talking about franchise.
You're talking franchise because to me, Yeah, I would have put Tekken Dark Resurrection as like my number 2.
I don't know if I would have been. I mean, Mortal Kombat 11 would have been Mortal Kombat 10 and 11.
11 is fantastic.
Yeah, it would have been between. I would definitely for Mortal Kombat that would have been one. That would have been up there.
I had Mortal Kombat 2 as my Mortal Kombat representation because
Tekken Tag is my favorite Tekken.
Tag is amazing. Played a whole lot of Tag.
Tag Weapon Lord. What is that, Lord?
I've heard of Weapon Lord, but I've never.
Or you pulling stuff out of nowhere. I got nothing.
That was the indie title. That was on
Marvel versus Capcom. Marvel versus Capcom is fire. I give it.
Bushido Blade.
I know you said the top joint is Marvel versus Capcom for tag games, but I love Tekken Tag the most. It's not even debatable for me.
Samurai Showdown. That's the one I've been trying to think of.
I've heard of that.
Samurai Showdown. That was an SNK title.
Yeah.
And
Samurai Showdown was on the PlayStation. I mean the PSP, right?
At some point it was, but
great minds, Lord.
I think it's
great minds.
Samurai Showdown was originally an SNK game. The first 3 came out SNK games, and then some of the characters showed up in King of Fighters.
Okay.
I think
Blade? Lori talking about Soul the precursor.
Yeah, that
UFC 3 was really, really good. So I haven't played Soul Calibur in so long, and I would love to destroy somebody's life on there. It would make me very happy to do that.
You know, you always talk trash about me when I come on here, and I'll be like, "Oh, I'll beat somebody." But you be the main person that be like, "Oh man, I'm gonna destroy somebody's life on this game."
I think I didn't see. I got into Soul Calibur late, so I think the first one I got, I used to play with my brother-in-law. God dang it, was it Soul Calibur 4?
Okay.
Oh, so
I think Soul Calibur 4 was the first one I played.
Oh, really?
What would be a real good topic is if we did top 5 fighting game characters.
Oh yeah.
That you know what? That would actually be a lot of fun. But I think you'd have to open that up even more.
If you have an emulator, you should look it up.
You already know what my number one.
I mean, my number one is easy.
Kind of cheating. My number one is I'll tell you right now, but it's cheating. But it's not cheating at the same time.
Ooh.
Freaking Kratos! You kidding me?
Yeah, but
that's cheating. That's real. Because then I'm gonna go get Star Killer on Soul Calibur.
Don't care. If I get to have Kratos, you can have him. As long as I can get Kratos, so
y'all gotta help me out here. Kratos is in a fighting game.
Yeah, he was in Soul Calibur.
Battle Royale.
Oh, okay.
He was in Soul Calibur too. They put him.
What?
They put him in one of the Soul Calibur games, I think. Let me double check that.
Oh, you should have told me that. You should have told me that.
Why do you like Kratos so much, man?
For Soul Calibur, I used to dominate with the girl Taki. What was that name?
He's in Soul Calibur 6.
Oh my God! As DLC or he comes stock?
I'm not sure.
I'll find it.
Don't
worry about it.
For me, the character I used to destroy people in, but it was Soul Calibur 2. Soul Calibur 2 for me, and Soul Calibur 3, I used to use Talon and Taki. I was destroying people with them.
Me too. I used to love Talon and Taki. I like the short weapon folks. I hated Cervantes and
yes,
what
sir.
Was the dude with the long sword, the dude with the big knight sword. Siegfried. I hated those dudes.
I got better with them, especially Siegfried.
Exactly, Lori. Exactly. I used to beat the bejesus out of Parappa with Kratos. I'm talking about running the people off the screen, doing all kinds of specials over and over again. Oh my God.
Who's your main in Tekken then, Morgan?
Law.
Law.
All day. Always has been, always will be.
Take a guess mine.
Who did you say was your favorite on who'd you say your favorite was on the game we were just talking about?
Which one? Oh, you're talking about
you said on Soul Calibur 2 you used to use
Talon and Taki.
On 2. But I use several people on all of them. So Taki's
I
the most consistent character over all of them that I play.
I tried to use Heihachi. Heihachi on
Sean, don't play with me, bro.
wasn't he on both Tekken and Soul Calibur?
Who?
Heihachi.
Heihachi?
When they,
I don't think
Heihachi
he's never been in
Tekken.
Tekken. Oh,
No,
no,
Heihachi
I
is
take that
Tekken.
back. Yeah,
not
yeah.
Heihachi, the one.
Okay.
It says
his name?
hold
Heihachi
on.
is
It
Tekken.
says Kratos was in Mortal Kombat 9.
Okay.
I was thinking
don't worry about it.
Yoshimitsu was the one that was.
Okay. Yes, Yoshi is.
Yoshimitsu. I
in
was gonna
both.
say one thing that I love about fighting games. I don't remember it, but I'm gonna find it. One thing that I love about fighting games is it better have been good too, Sean. One thing that I love about fighting games is like I love when you find a character that you have to specialize in, like on Tekken, using King,
Mhm.
right? You know what I'm saying? Like if you see somebody grab King on
They have to
Tekken,
work to do it.
you should be concerned because this person is it's gonna go one or two ways. They're either trash or they know what they're doing, and once they grab you, this match is over. You know what I'm saying? Like this, nothing else to talk about. Just like Zangief, nobody's gonna get Zangief unless that dude's get ready to put you in that hole, spin you 50 million times, and then slam you on your head. Oh, I got it, Jamari. I put it up in the group already.
No problem.
Yep. Yeah, you good. Appreciate it, bro.
But yeah, there's certain characters somebody had to work to, like on Soul Calibur, Ivy, to really use her effectively.
Oh yeah.
To play against people, you have to learn. You have to.
Cervantes too.
Cervantes requires some skill.
You can't button mash with that dude, bro.
You have to. Siegfried, honestly, like you
definitely have to know.
If you really want to play against actual players and play with Siegfried or Nightmare, yes.
Yeah, you got to know what you're doing. Same with. See, that's what I'm saying. I think I like my favorite games are the ones where combinations can flow, and like you really, it's not about you can make combinations out of Street Fighter, right? But it's not as fluid as it is on Mortal Kombat. One of the things that I loved about Mortal Kombat 10 and 11 is because we all know you can juggle like crazy on Mortal Kombat if you know what you're doing. But their combos are so different as far as the input. You know what I'm saying? The input to get into the combos and get good moves off. Their input is complete because, like y'all said, Street Fighter was the template for most things, and you don't need to guess. You don't need a book to figure out what the moves are on a Street Fighter. Like it's either a character that you can press the same button a bunch of times, like Edmund Honda, Blanca, Chun-Li, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and you win that way.
Maybe originals. It used to be that way.
Yeah. Well, every fighting game has somebody that you can button mash with and pull some wins out. Like Horong is definitely one of them. There are people that are skilled with Horong, though, that will F you up. You know what I'm saying? Eddie, too. Eddie's definitely a button masher.
He used to be, like, everybody hated Eddie, and now, in the recent Tekkens, he's a respected character. People, like, legitimate fighters actually use him now.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me, my favorite Tekken characters are Law. Law will always be number one. Slim Bob. I will destroy people's lives with Slim Bob. He almost took over as my number one. Slim Bob, Raven.
Regular Bob. For me. I love Regular Bob on that game, but I don't use him as my main. He's not my main.
It's rare that I start out with the people I'm best with. I'm going to always start with somebody that I'm third or fourth.
I'm the same way. I did actually, usually a couple of times a year, I bring my system into work on a holiday or something right before we go on holiday. And I will play somebody in Tekken, and I love the trash talking kids who decide, "Oh, I can beat you."
Yeah,
you think you invented video games?
Y'all go vote. Y'all can vote in the poll. I already posted it in the group. Yeah, no, I think I'm definitely going to look into this Kratos thing because I was going to say I don't know why Kratos wouldn't be on Mortal Kombat, but the fact that he is now makes me. They really need to make some DLC where you can download. Man, if I could put Kratos, because they put Alien on there. Mortal Kombat 10, I think they had Jason as DLC, Leatherface.
Yeah, they had all your main horror
Alien.
movie, and the Terminator was on it.
Yeah, it was so freaking good, man.
Oh, that was 11. That wasn't 10. That was 11 that had all of that on it.
They had Jason on it. I thought Jason was 10.
I could have sworn they put all of those on 11 because I was going to download all of those onto it. Because
11, I know 11 had the time chick on there. Liu Kang, like in the story mode, he's like the dragon, whatever. He grows like huge. He gets Raiden's powers too. But I want to say Jason and Leatherface were the one before that one because I'm at to look.
You could be right. I will double check it. So,
but PJ, you're absolutely right. That's what I'm saying. If you playing Tekken and somebody comes out with King, it's like either this person's trash, or I can't let this person grab me.
Doing.
Yeah, or I can't let this person grab me because if they do, the match is over right now. Like there's nothing else to talk about. There ain't no running it back. It's just you're gonna die. Same thing with Zangief. I used to hate playing people who use Blanca. Blanca could be a real problem.
Blanca, you have to if you don't know how to break Blanca, Blanca will get on your nerves.
Yeah. Especially if they have good timing. All of the characters that have those, what do you want to call those moves? I don't know what you call it. Button pressing moves. I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about the repeater moves like E Honda and
Chun-Li, Blanca.
So my favorite iteration of Chun-Li is actually not on Street Fighter. My favorite iteration is on Capcom SNK. I think it's Cap SNK 2. Because it's at Cap SNK 2 because she had, for whatever, she can just press you for days.
Mm-hmm.
And I once had somebody who they kept complaining about me using Ken and Ryu with fireballs. Oh, you can only use fireball characters. And while she does have a fireball on that game, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get you with somebody without using a fireball. And I proceeded to destroy their whole team with just Chun-Li.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the type of determination I like to see. God dang it! Just people start talking trash, and then you just run it up on them. You know what I'm saying? That's the best time. You know what I'm saying? When people bump their guns long enough, you just get a piece of paper and put it on the table and say, "All right, well, let's see when you get to mark this paper." You just go off. You know what I'm saying? And let people have it. It's the best way to settle anything.
I got a question.
Sure.
It has nothing to do with video games.
All right.
But I actually wanted to ask it when Danny was on, but we got into a lot of stuff. But Morgan and I have talked about it. Do you feel like we've reached a point with comic book movies where whether it is faithful to the source material is not as important anymore as it used to be?
Absolutely. I think you have to have the spirit of it now. And I think, and we talked about this whole idea, and I said my idea is we're at a point where sometimes things need to be changed because of the medium that we're using. Just like some video game stories should never be tried to be told as a TV show or a movie.
That's a fact.
They're great for video games. Like it's great that we got The Lost of Us, but The Lost of Us might be one of 5 things you could turn into an actual TV show.
I was very scared, and they did a great job. I was very scared though.
It's like
I don't know the God of War should be turned into it. I'm too nervous. If they mess up God of War, I promise I'm bombing whoever made that.
When you say mess up God of War, what do you mean though?
God of War is a great story. It can be, but
because
there's so much that can be done with it. Go ahead.
No, because I feel like, and I said this to Jamari, but I'll say it out loud. I feel like originally the MCU was very popular because it was very relatively faithful to what the comics were showing. But as time went on, I think there's more people who grew up watching the MCU and didn't read the books and don't care.
Correct.
So we've kind of reached this point where the people who kind of drove the MCU before, who were fans of the material, are kind of like, the MCU's kind of like, y'all don't matter as much now because we've raised these people and now we just need to make stuff, and it doesn't need to necessarily coincide or be, you know, kind of look like what the MCU, what the books look like. Like, it doesn't matter as much now.
You're correct.
I think, yeah, I think the evidence. I think the evidence is also in Last of Us. Like in Last of Us, episode 3 specifically. The things that Last of Us added more depth to with these characters worked. It might not have been something that was in the original story, but the stuff that they added, the stuff that they, you know, filtered in worked for the story. So to me personally, I think it really depends on, I agree with Jamari. I don't care that it's complete canon unless like it's a really huge moment within that person's story or arc, as much as it is the spirit of that person. Like if you had Joel, and there are certain things about his character as a person in the video game that you wouldn't be able to change and get away with.
Yes.
Well, so like PJ makes the point. He says, and I'll pull it up. He's like, I don't know if from the start was made up of source material fans. That's not true at all. I think the people who drove the MCU in the beginning were absolutely comic book fans. And when I say in the beginning, I'm talking about like early phase 1, like Iron Man, yeah. 2, you know, Captain America, Thor. Like, let's keep it a buck. Like, fans of the comics were bringing non-fans to the movies with them. You know, like the popularity of it, kind of the fact that Iron Man was so unanimously loved amongst comic book fans, kind of, it was one of those things where people, it's, at least from my opinion, people are like, let me see what this is about. And so you got more people who didn't know who Iron Man was that were coming to see Iron Man. And I think fans were driving it in the beginning, because if it had flopped, if it wasn't good, yeah, it goes for Marvel and DC. Well, DC has always been a little bit ashamed of its comic book roots. Yeah, DC is kind of always. Warner Brothers. I think superhero movies were growing in popularity because of Blade, Spider-Man, and X-Men. Then this comes. Well, again, Spider-Man. The first Spider-Man was well liked because of how close it was to the comics. Now, X-Men was different. I know, you know,
X-Men, they went all over the place.
They were all over the place with that. But I think people are happy that Wolverine at least acted like Wolverine. But they don't play well now.
Let me ask you this question then. Being as what we know, would the MCU be the MCU if they started with Guardians of the Galaxy instead of Iron Man?
Probably not.
And I think so. I think you kind of, even though you're right about that, those movies are very much core movies, that they're very close to the source material. But I also think that those might have been some of the easiest stories to tell.
Well, that's fine and that's fair, but at the same time, you know, like when I think of something like Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Like Moon Knight is very, very different than what it is in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're able to do that now because they have built up this cachet where they have people who and I'm not making fun of Morgan, but Morgan didn't read the comics when he was younger. Like Morgan wasn't a comic book reader. Morgan just watched the movies. I'm assuming, right? Like you just came in fresh. Like you ain't know much about movies.
Nope.
But he still watches the movies now, even if he isn't really deep into the comics. Those are the people who are generating the cash now from Marvel. Because I mean, I see it in Comic Cons all the time. I'll talk to people and they'll be like, I don't read comics. And I'll be like, do you watch the Marvel movies? And I'll be like, yeah. And I'll be like, okay. But you know, there's a larger audience of people who don't read the comics, therefore don't care. Correct. The only reason I ask is because
I think it's been that way though.
Yes.
No. It, but not in the beginning.
I think it started that way.
No, absolutely.
I do.
Not. No.
It couldn't have done. I don't think it could have done the numbers that it did. I don't think those movies could have done the numbers that they did if everybody that was in there was.
Well, the movie. What I'm saying is, I'm when I say fans of it, I don't think people who came into Iron Man were fans of Iron Man. I think they came in to see a blockbuster movie.
Yes.
Now you have people that are fans of the MCU. You see what I'm saying? The difference?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, but
there's like, you're not like, if you went to see Independence Day, you're not a fan of Independence Day because you ain't never seen it before. But yeah, you like it after the fact.
But I think part of the point, unless I misheard you, you feel like the early days of Marvel where people were happy, especially people that are comic book lovers, it was because they stuck to the source material more succinctly than they do now.
I think now they're willing to take more chances that have nothing to do with the comics than they were before, for good and bad.
Yes.
But I think and more people knew Iron Man than Guardian, so it would have never flew. I'm just curious. I'm just generating discussion.
I think it's very similar, and I know we disagreed about that too, but to me it's the same. Like Black Panther's success, I don't think most people knew. Like you might have, you know Black Panther because you heard people say Black Panther, but you don't know the Black Panther was T'Challa. Like you don't know nothing about the majority of people who went to see Black Panther. I
disagree on that because he was in Civil War.
Before he shows up in the movies,
right. Yes, I will agree. Before he showed up in Civil War, most people who didn't really know anything about Black Panther, they think of Black Panthers like the organization.
But my point is, the success Black Panther is not a good example because the success of Black Panther had a lot to do with culture and what it meant for Black people, period.
Right.
So I had to think of a different movie within the franchise. I
mean, Ant-Man. I mean, most people don't know who Ant-Man is, and people still came out to see Ant-Man.
The reason the MCU
people are going to give, they're going to give because now we're on. What you're talking about, I think, is the MCU is using the credit it's earned over the course of 20 years to 10, 20 years to take chances on these other things.
Yes, but I'm wondering if, and I'm not talking about the people who are upset because this character is now Black or this character is whatever.
I know the people who are paying attention. I know you are a much more detail-oriented person when it comes to the direct connections to the source material. Much like our uncles and fathers. Right. We sat in a room with them and they complain they feel like the movies aren't enough like the originals because they were reading the old 1960s versions of these characters.
That's part of my point too. I think at this point for the MCU is in the space that it is. Well, that's not even okay. So your main point or question is, I think your question's already been answered. The conversation is more so. The conversation at this point is more so on, or at least my point of interest for the conversation is, who built the MCU to where it is initially.
Was it the comic fans or was it the mass?
Yeah. What was it, comic fans, or was it people that might not have read the comics but they were interested in superhero movies, like PJ said?
And the
I
answer
think
to all your questions is money.
That's my point. You know, because to me it's similar to Batman. They've been putting out Batman movies for forever. I never read the Batman comics, but I watched the animated series, so I knew I was a Batman fan. So if there was a Batman movie coming out, I'm gonna go see it. You could know about some of these Marvel characters in passing and know nothing about the comics and still go see the movie. And
No,
to me,
I agree.
To me, I think the majority of the MCU, the people that go to watch the MCU and the people that got into it even in the beginning,
Now
were passive fans. They weren't people that read the comics.
Yes, I'm agreeing right now. Yes, right now. But I'm wondering. My question, I guess, is:
was that always the case?
No. It's more of a people, because I'm seeing a lot of people like complain about the quality of Marvel movies.
That's true.
And I always wonder if it's tied to how far they've kind of moved away from source material.
I don't think so.
That's all. But there are two different complaints. There's that segment that we just talked about that's just complaining that everybody's a woman now and everybody's black. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about people in general, because I do think that's
the gripe I hear.
Huh?
That's the gripe I hear. The gripe that I hear is
I
that
ain't messing. I don't talk to those people. Because I always wondered if the timelessness of the stories, the original stories of the universe, because they were so close to the books, had to do with the quality of the movies. And that's why certain people, because they felt the connection with the source material, why they don't feel like they're connecting now with what's being provided now. Even though I could argue that there's still a connection to the source material.
I think you also have to consider now with the types of characters they're putting out here versus the core characters that they started with. I think that is something you have to take into consideration as well. I think when you take that and then the way the stories have been told over the years, now we're getting into these much more in-depth stories that have been told within the last 20 years versus where some of these have very like core Spider-Man story, base Spider-Man story is very simple. But we all know there are some really complex Spider-Man stories that they're starting to toy with and we can keep going into. And I think when you start introducing the characters that people are not as familiar with, or at least not as familiar with in the same sense, that might have some to do. And I'm not going to say that's all of it. Because
but again, I don't know if that holds weight because the Guardians take.
And I was about to say it's
Ant-Man,
not totally
the Ant-Man take, even the Captain Marvel take, to a degree.
Well,
like
that's where I think
people didn't know who don't know who Captain Marvel is.
And that's why a lot of people, I think that's where some of this started. Truly.
What, with Captain Marvel?
I think Captain Marvel was like the first real big, like, well, why? Maybe you could say.
I would say Ant-Man was the first big why.
I won't disagree with that.
No, I mean, again, I don't know if there's an answer to this. It was just something I was thinking about.
It's an interesting thing to kind of. That's one of those I would start tracking.
Because I just think that a lot of the stuff that they've kind of put out is it's close and far from the stories. It's one of those things like the Falcon being Captain America now. Yeah, he was Captain America. I mean, yeah, Ant-Man played it. Yes. Yes, he was Captain America in the comics, but those comics were more recent.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people don't like a lot of the recent comics, which is why Carol didn't come in as fan service, dude. Come on, man, don't do that, dude. She's been Captain Marvel she was Captain Marvel for years before the movie even came out.
Oh yeah.
The outfit she's wearing is literally based on the the comic book version. I think the movie comic is at a crossroads. I mean, after Endgame, I was like, how can anyone? I don't think it's fatigue. Into the Spider-Verse is about to make a bill, probably.
What else? Something else just recently.
They open it like 130, 140. I mean, they may, but
They gonna make a bill
that's a
by
lot
the
of room
time
to
they
make up.
by the time they done.
That's a lot of room to make up because I mean the numbers drastically drop every week. It's not like they did 120, 140 or something in the opening weekend. It's not like this. It's very rare that you do that much and then do the same or close to that the next week. Like usually you drop off at least 40, 50%. So I mean there's I'd be shocked if by next weekend they say Across the Spider-Verse did 60 million in the box office. I mean, I can't see it.
Hey, PJ, she was Captain Marvel in 2012. Captain Marvel came out in 2019. Just to.
All right, gentlemen, I'm gonna let you guys continue.
Right, yeah, we'll call it. I don't know.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming through, Jamari.
Yeah, this is good.
Had a lot of fun.
I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you did. Definitely hoping that we can get Frankie on because I definitely want to continue. Those takes were scalding hot, and I definitely want to continue that conversation.
What's the topic?
But I think Danny made posters, but I don't know that we chose which one we want to do next yet. I think we got 2 other posters. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I saved them already. Top 5 video game.
It's all right, PJ.
Video game characters, fighting game characters would have been great.
Now I still
top five indie characters, excluding our own. That was one. Top 5 video games of all time. I thought we did that before.
Yeah,
I think it might have been video game characters.
I definitely want to do top 5 movie psychopaths.
Okay.
At some point. It ain't gotta be next week, but
all right, but yeah, at next week actually, well, we'll still be here.
No, we'll be here on Tuesday. We might have
Hero Sign is next week. So yeah, and hopefully, like I said, I'll be down there Friday during the day. I got a nurse for that. Trying to cover Saturday. Don't know if I'm gonna have covered on Sunday. So, but our tables are like right beside.
Yeah, we are actually right next to each other. I'll be at Brooklyn Comic Con this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Come see me. I'll be posting information on that, and then obviously next week I'll be in Heroes Con, God willing. Still got to get that flight. If y'all want to help me out with that, holla at me.
All right.
Because Lord knows I need it.
I can barely get myself.
I'm still working on that flight, man. If you know somebody that knows somebody, yeah. But I can't see a scenario. I'm leaving it to God's hands to make it work. And he's actually starting to make it work, believe it or not. I just got some text messages that have been helping me, and we're gonna make it work. But y'all have a good night.
We appreciate y'all, man. As always,
holler at me.
Make sure y'all go vote in the poll. I'm gonna put some cage rattling polls up this week, just to mess with people and get some controversy started. Y'all know how I do. But we appreciate y'all as always. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all. I should have said that first. We've reached 1,000 subscribers on Fourth Wall Comments. Thank y'all so much, man. Thank y'all. Can't say enough about that. We got to get our hours watched up. You know what I mean? So y'all please help people. Like in order for us to get monetized, you got to jump through all the hoops. So that's a big goal. We got to 1,000 subscribers. That's one of them. We got to have like 40,000 hours of watched or something like that. So we definitely trying to get people to watch full episodes if they can. I feel like if people will watch, if they'll watch the beginning and watch the debates, and we got to start chopping up more videos so people can catch parts of our debates and then hopefully get hooked into the conversation. But y'all help us spread the word though. You know what I mean? Because we got to get those hours watched up on the channel. And one of the best ways for us to do that is the show, because we normally run at least an hour and a half. So, we can get people watching full episodes. We got 95 episodes now on the playlist. We can get people and direct them to that playlist, man. And people start watching and loving those conversations. It'll help us, and we can get monetized, before the year is out, honestly. We got another big opportunity. Heroes Con is coming up this month, and then we got Galaxy Con coming up next month that they've asked us to do top 5 live at Galaxy Con. So we're excited about that. That's a huge news for us. So we're definitely looking forward to that. And it's in Raleigh, like right around the way from my house, where I grew up in Durham, North Carolina. So we appreciate y'all as always. Please continue to tell people about the show, man, so we can get the hours watched up and we can get monetized this year. That would be huge for all of us as a group and as individual companies. And we got some other big news coming up this year, not just for the show, but for the comics. Thank y'all so much that backed the Kickstarter me and Danny had for Black Rose in Harlem. Very, very excited to get it in your hands. And we'll keep y'all updated with, where we are in the process. Right now, to charge of cards, we got some that still have to run through. And then for Lumberjacks, I'm almost done shipping there too, just waiting on the t-shirts to come in. And once they come in, we'll really be closing the door on that campaign too. So thank y'all so much. We love y'all. See y'all.